There is no bread in the house of bread. There's a famine. Then the couple choose the names Mahlon and Chilion for their children's names. Now, the first name, Mahlon, means sickness in Hebrew, and the second name means destruction. And I could go on and on with the symbolism that is in this story and all the names of the towns and the places and that sort of thing, but let's just stop there with the children and say, in Hebrew culture, the naming of a child was very important. It was something that was celebrated to give a good name to a Hebrew child. Now, do you think that any Hebrew parent would have named their child death, sickness, and destruction? Those are not names that you would choose. So these are hints to us. This is an allegory. This is a metaphor, a story that's going to be told. We know that this is a narrative fiction with a spiritual message that's designed to inspire God's people then and now too. It's a rich text, and I'm just going to pull one of the threads through this. The important thing for us to notice is that Ruth is a woman of questionable descent because she's a foreigner. The author clearly cares about Ruth's identity because her Moabite roots are mentioned in this short book 14 times. Think it might be important? Yes. Calling this out to the Israelites would have been like waving a red flag in front of a bull for the ancient Israelites. And we can't fully understand it until we know the history of God's people and the tension that existed between the Israelites and the Moabites. And the reason for that is very complicated. So the Moabites were descendants of Moab and Ammon, sons of Lot, through an incestuous relationship with his daughters. Now you see what I mean. It's complicated, right? Moabite women were depicted in a very negative light in books like Numbers, where they are blamed for influencing the Israelites to worship false gods. But it wasn't only their idolatrous history that was problematic. The Moabites had also refused the Israelites water and food when they were fleeing Egypt. So by Torah law, the Moabites were never allowed in the temple. And as humans are prone to do, the Israelites took it a step further, and they developed a very deep-seated grudge that escalated into ethnic hatred of the Moabites. Now, Ruth also carried another stigma. She had been married, but she had no children. I want to impress upon you something. In the ancient world, being barren was comparable to being dead, and I'm not exaggerating. You could be divorced, put away, economically deprived. It was a serious deficiency in ancient culture. Never mind what you and I know about biology, that it takes both a man and a woman to procreate. In patriarchal culture of the Israelites, the only way a woman can get a gold star in her crown is by bearing a son. Now, a daughter? No, not so much. You simply couldn't drop any lower than Ruth was on the social, religious ladder. This may explain why in the next book, the next chapter, Ruth and Naomi arrive in Bethlehem after this long journey, and Ruth isn't even acknowledged by the Israelite women who come out and gather around Naomi to welcome her back. It's as if Ruth is simply not there. She's not there. They don't see her at all. Now, the Israelites knew better than to behave that way. They knew better because they had received this law in Leviticus. The alien who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you, and you shall love the alien as you love yourself. For you were aliens in the land of Egypt, and I am the Lord your God. Let's just zoom in a little bit closer and look at how the Israelites would have received the Ruth story. To ancient ears, Ruth's kindness toward Naomi, her willingness to go out and work the barley fields to put food on the table, is an allegorical reversal of what divided the Israelites from the Moabites in the very first place. And that was their old grudge about not being fed by the Moabites. Ruth is a story that calls the Israelites to surrender their resentment and bigotry and turn back to God's way of generous, wholehearted welcome and peace, just as Naomi turned back to Bethlehem. The story of Ruth is meant to call them to better ways of being. Now, this morning, I want to invite you to consider what Ruth might be calling you to do. And here is one possibility that is right under our nose. Hendricks County is a very diverse community. I know at last check in Avon and the Avon school system, there were 93 languages spoken by students in the Avon schools. I don't know how it is here in Danville, but I suspect you have a good deal of diversity here as well. We're becoming more diverse every day. The whole nation has been. People around the world hear about Hendricks County, they share it with their families, and they say, hey, it's a great place to live. You can come here and live peacefully. As a church, we need to see immigration not as a political issue, but as a gospel issue. The Jesus we love was himself an illegal immigrant, fleeing persecution